Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. In the complex web of narcissistic relationships, one of the most confounding and perplexing aspects of the narcissist's behavior is the subtle, yet calculated tests which they subject their victims to. Narcissists are transactional in their relationships, and they always seek to take more than they give. Bear in mind that the whole purpose of the narcissist's relationship with you is only because you can potentially provide some form of narcissistic supply for them. Narcissists aren't seeking equal partnerships or friendships. Instead, they desire individuals whom they can dominate and manipulate. Testing serves as a means to assess the suitability of individuals, and if found suitable, the narcissist begins their manipulative efforts. Through these tests, they aim to discern what they can exploit, what they can push, and what they can acquire. So, during a friendship or a relationship with a narcissist, they will test you in various ways to identify your weaknesses and assess your susceptibility to their tactics. And mind you, these tests are not random. They are strategic maneuvers employed by narcissists to gauge control, manipulate emotions, and solidify their dominance over their victims. Through subtle challenges and provocations, narcissists assess how well they are able to shape and mold the thoughts and behaviors of those around them. And any signs of resistance or independence from the victim are swiftly met with further tests to re-establish control. For a narcissist, it's all a game of psychological chess, where every move is designed to strengthen the narcissist's control over their victim. Therefore, understanding the methods behind these tests is the key to navigating the treacherous terrain of narcissistic dynamics. So, let's get started. Love bombing is an initial phase where the narcissist overwhelms their victims with affection, compliments, and attention. The narcissist assesses the target by providing large doses of validation, gauging whether they merely appreciate the attention or eagerly consume it as if they'd been deprived of it throughout their life. If this intense validation generates euphoria in the victim, propelling them to cloud nine, they are seen as a promising candidate, clearly lacking something in their life that only the narcissist can provide. Subsequently, the narcissist alters tactics, raising the target's expectations of validation and then promptly withdrawing it. If the withdrawal of validation induces significant discomfort in the target, resulting in an emotional crash, it is deemed advantageous for the narcissist, as this suggests that the victim is susceptible to manipulation, and the narcissist has effectively embedded their hooks into them. Another typical method employed by a narcissist to test their victims is through interrogation. The narcissist wants to gain full control over you, meaning they want to know an unusual amount of personal details about you and will ask you questions to this effect. The narcissist will also want to better understand your vulnerabilities and weaknesses, and will target their questions to achieve this. Narcissists are always trying to find that opening into your soul, the chink in your armor, any unhealed trauma or any unfulfilled wishes and desires within you. The questions they ask will seem to be pushing against your personal boundaries. As long as you are not drawing a line in the sand, they will keep ramping up the questions, notch after notch, until they have enough personal information about you to allow them to play this against you, and to their advantage. Keep in mind that everything you tell the narc is going to be used against you, in a weaponized fashion. They will often ask a number of pointed questions to get a sense of what you will bring to the table. They generally want a partner that will reflect positively on them, from a social point of view. So, they could be testing for things like social status, friendships, wealth, career prospects, etc. They also desire qualities that will cast a positive light on them, qualities they want to believe they possess, such as intelligence, compassion, skill, etc. Narcissists like to test the strength of your boundaries, and they will chip away at them just enough to break them down. One of the initial factors narcissists consider when searching for a new source of supply is weak or non-existent boundaries. Narcissists will gradually push the boundaries of your personal space and comfort just to assess your tolerance levels. This can start with seemingly innocent intrusions, such as invading your personal space or demanding excessive time and attention from you. They test you by pushing your boundaries and observing how much and how strongly, if at all, you resist. If you do not resist, or resist a little, but then give in, you are easy prey, and they know they can up the ante faster and easier on you. Another example of the narcissist pushing your boundaries is, for instance, when concluding a phone conversation with your narcissist, a natural inclination is to end the call. In response, the narcissist might inquire about your reasons for wanting to hang up, why you want to conclude the conversation, what could be more important than talking to them, or why you aren't willing to extend the discussion. Even a simple act, like ending a conversation, may be interpreted as rejection. Your response to their interrogation becomes crucial, as it provides insights into your boundaries, or the lack thereof, and your level of commitment to them. Here's another example. It could involve them encouraging you to try a sweet, even though you don't usually enjoy eating those, or suggesting that you try out a different hairstyle or clothing choice. In this way, they attempt to get you to succumb to going against your wishes. What the narcissist is doing here is testing various approaches to see which ones can make you overlook your boundaries. Can they employ bullying or intimidation tactics? Do you succumb to pity plays? Is guilt an effective strategy? Once the narcissist identifies the most successful methods, they will then continue to employ them repeatedly. The test is basically to gauge how much control the narcissist can assert on you without facing resistance, establishing a precedent for future boundary violations. This may seem harmless at first, but the narcissist gradually conditions you to ignore crucial boundaries. And before you know it, you'll find yourself giving in to increasingly significant demands. Eventually, you will change your code of ethics, your morals, and your way of life for them. One day you wake up and literally do not know who you are anymore, as they have successfully eroded your sense of self. All your rights will be slowly stripped away, in small ways at first, subtle enough to avoid triggering your warning light. It makes you pause and reflect, but you quickly dismiss that questioning response, knowing that if you mention it to others, you will sound crazy because it's such a small thing. You'll be accused of overreacting, overthinking, being jaded, being depressed, being too sensitive, being confused, and making a mountain out of a molehill. What is really happening is your intuition and your subconscious, your inner knowing, are screaming at you to pay attention, that what is happening is not good for you. However, we tend to ignore it because our logical mind often overrides our intuition. The narcissist is adept at downplaying the manipulation they subject us to. They deliver hurtful remarks with a smile, maintaining a calm demeanor under the guise of love, making it challenging to discern the underlying malevolence. But you have to gauge it by how it makes you feel. If it makes you feel bad, it was malicious. Observe your other friends and people in your life who are not narcissists. They do not evoke such negative feelings in you. Narcissists escalate these tactics until, eventually, you find yourself losing your sense of identity. Another typical method employed by a narcissist to assess their victims is intentionally disappointing you, such as promising to call you but intentionally delaying it for several days or arriving late to a meeting. They might contact you afterward and pretend as if nothing transpired, providing no explanation whatsoever for their actions. Through this test, the narcissist gauges your reactions to their letdowns, creating a situation where there's no winning for you. If you stay silent, it signals approval for such behavior. On the other hand, if you react, the narcissist learns something that could be exploited to provoke you or attract negative attention. Narcissists might also assess you, just by observing your day-to-day routine actions. Some narcissists, for no apparent reason, watch their partners go about their daily chores, creating an unsettling feeling of being watched. In doing so, narcissists are actively trying to seek out any flaws and weaknesses in you. They may intentionally watch you, particularly when you're involved in challenging tasks, aiming to apply further pressure, and observe how it affects you, testing to see if they can disrupt your composure. They are essentially looking for your Achilles heel, to use it as a potent weapon for future manipulation. Another one of the most common ways narcissists test people is by giving them sly put-downs, often disguised as jokes. In the early stages of the relationship, the narcissist will test your reactions to certain offensive, inappropriate, demeaning comments, and general inconsistencies between their words and actions. In this scenario, the narcissist assesses the extent of derogatory remarks and inconsistencies you will endure before responding. The narcissist systematically amplifies the frequency and intensity of these insults, monitoring your reactions. Are you visibly bothered but hesitant to confront them? Or do you retaliate in any way? Once you do react, the narcissist typically retreats, dismissing the comments as jokes and may accuse you of being overly sensitive. However, they take note of the point at which you showed a reaction and the nature of the comment that triggered it. The narcissist may play nice for a while, but gradually they revert to their condescending ways, and slowly turn up the heat with increasingly cutting put-downs. Another way a narcissist may test you is by fabricating an argument out of thin air, solely to observe your reactions. Their objective is to determine whether you tend to avoid conflicts, readily admit defeat, and feel compelled to make amends. They might feign offense over something you did or did not do, intentionally misconstrue something you said, and then construct an argument based on these perceived grievances. In this staged act, the narcissist harbors a hidden desire and expectation that you will yield to avoid conflicts, and feel intimidated by the idea of disagreeing with them. Narcissists hope that your inclination to steer clear of conflict will lead you to give in to their demands, and this way they can use the threat of an argument as leverage, whenever they want to assert their own preferences over you. A narcissist might also test you by borrowing something from you and intentionally not return it, observing to see if you forgot about it or feel too uncomfortable to request it back from them. Narcissists often exhibit a sense of entitlement to the belongings of those close to them. Through this testing, they evaluate the accessibility of your possessions and gauge your willingness to advocate for their return. The process may initiate with relatively minor items like phone chargers and progress to more valuable possessions over time. If the narcissist learns that you don't ask back for things, then they feel like they've hit the jackpot. Another way a narcissist might test you is that they may stage a tantrum, a complete meltdown. While their reaction may appear to be triggered by something you said or did, their primary intention is to test your limits. They aim to gauge your response. Will you stay, leave, offer support, or potentially use their behavior against them? The tantrum serves as a manipulative tactic to assess your reactions and determine the extent of control they have over you. Narcissists also frequently employ the tactic of portraying themselves as victims to manipulate those around them. They may express statements like, "You don't love me," or "You don't respect me," or "You never want to spend time with me." These declarations serve the purpose of eliciting a response from you and gauging your reaction. The underlying expectation is that you will prioritize them and their needs, offering them the comfort and reassurance they seek, while neglecting anything unrelated to them. This guarantees that the narcissist continues to receive the usual supply from you and confirms that it remains undiminished. Another way a narcissist might test you is through triangulation. Triangulation involves introducing a third party, whether real or imaginary, into the relationship dynamic. They may purposely flirt, chat, and post things with the opposite sex just to observe when and how you react. The narcissist aims to gauge how the victim responds to perceived competition, jealousy, or the fear of abandonment. Additionally, this manipulation tactic fosters a sense of rivalry and insecurity in the victim, solidifying the narcissist's control as the focal point in the victim's life. A narcissist may also test you by gaslighting you. Gaslighting involves distorting the reality to make the victim doubt their own perceptions, feelings, and emotions. Through subtle manipulation and deceit, narcissists test the victim's ability to distinguish truth from fiction. This tactic also creates a state of confusion and dependency in the victim, further solidifying the narcissist's control as the arbiter of reality. The narcissist will also assess your loyalty towards them, seeking to understand your level of commitment and whether you will stand by them through thick and thin. A classic testing method involves the silent treatment, a form of emotional manipulation where the narcissist abruptly withdraws all communication and attention from the victim. This test evaluates the victim's desperation for validation and how much they are willing to endure to regain the favor of the narcissist. Additionally, it reinforces the power dynamic by making the victim dependent on the narcissist's approval. Displaying vulnerability is another calculated tactic where the narcissist pretends to be in need of support and understanding. This feigned vulnerability serves to test the victim's empathy and compassion towards the narcissist. Once the victim is emotionally invested, the narcissist may later use this information as a weapon, manipulating the victim through a false sense of intimacy. Another way narcissists will test you is by threatening to end the relationship. In the midst of a conflict, a narcissist might use the prospect of ending the relationship as a means to manipulate your behavior and emotions. They want to gauge if just the idea of them leaving you is enough to devastate you. This tactic aims to control your actions, testing whether you will comply, the lengths you will go to retain them in your life, and whether you will pursue them. If they see you are all in, as they, of course, expect, then that just means the narcissist can get away with anything. Additionally, this strategy serves to condition you for the eventual discard stage of the relationship. If you decide to end the relationship with a narcissist, or if they initiate the discard, they will reference instances where you failed to meet their demands, using this history to shift all blame onto you. In the discard phase, narcissists may resort to a manipulation technique known as hoovering, where they return and shower you with affection. This tactic is employed to maintain control over you. A common scenario where this behavior is observed is during divorces. Despite engaging in hurtful actions such as gaslighting and using legal processes against you, the narcissist may suddenly reach out via email, expressing a desire to reconcile and questioning the current situation. This effort is aimed at pulling you back into their sphere of influence and assessing whether they still hold sway over your emotions. Even after a relationship with a narcissist concludes, it is never truly over in the eyes of the narcissist. When they experience boredom or find themselves single, they may attempt to hoover you back into their life. This is because it's more convenient to rekindle an old connection than to pursue a new one. Throughout the hoovering process, narcissists test your level of neediness. They may monitor your social media to glean insights into your life, employing emotive messages. They might claim they miss you or send pictures from the good old days. Here the narcissist is banking on the hope that you're in a vulnerable state, and may view the past through a nostalgic lens. They aim to see if you would welcome them back warmly, regardless of how poorly they treated you. Thus, they scrutinize and test for any perceived weaknesses before making their move. Narcissists may also conduct seemingly dumb little tests, such as seeing if you'll pay if they say they forgot their wallet. They might eat off your plate and consume half of your meal during your date without asking, or answer a phone call from their ex right in front of you to see if you get upset. They may also test you by setting forth a requirement that is petty and stupid, one you must abide by. For example, they may say something like, "When together, we will only listen to country music," or "I only date people who eat puffed pastry, not bagels. Bagels are lame. If I see you eating a bagel, it's over." Or they may lie and see if you notice or say anything. Or they make a demand to see if you comply. They might even ask others to spy on you, such as sending a friend over to hit on you, to see if you flirt back. Sometimes they may test you by revealing all of their worst qualities at once, to see if you can handle it. So the mask comes off, and out pours the worst of them, or even a list of what they've been hiding from you, to see if you'll put up with it. The bottom line is, they will always go by your reaction, because that's how they've learned to perfect their chaotic tactics over time. Narcissists thrive on emotional chaos. Testing their victims allows them to orchestrate a series of highs and lows, keeping their victims in a perpetual state of uncertainty. This emotional roller coaster not only serves as a means of control, but also ensures that the narcissist remains the focal point of the victim's thoughts and emotions. Therefore, it's crucial for individuals in relationships with narcissists to recognize these testing tactics, seek support, and establish healthy boundaries to navigate the complexities of such relationships. So, I hope this helps you. If it has, please consider sharing and subscribing to my channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Always feel free to share your experiences in the comment section below. I express my gratitude to everyone for tuning in and watching. Let us help spread the awareness and lead healthier and fulfilling lives.